All right, guys, thanks for joining us here on episode number 6 of the Master Plan podcast here with special guest Joel Sandoval. He is a man. Just tell him, you got a better introduction than I do.
Yeah, for sure, man. Bro, thanks for the invitation, Eric. So I'm Joel. I'm a CPA here in Bakersfield. Own a Sandoval Tax CPAs. Long story short, I started as a solo tax practitioner about maybe 7 years ago, and now have about 15 full-time employees servicing all 50
Wow.
states.
Damn.
In basically any state that you can think of, anywhere from Texas to Florida, Hawaii. We basically serve business owners, help them save anywhere between 25 as much as $300,000 a year in taxes on an annual basis. So that's kind of what we specialize in. So I'm excited to be here.
Man, that's crazy. So that's when we met. It was probably about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And you didn't have that many employees, right? So you added more?
Yeah,
Wow.
we keep adding more. We keep growing our clients. We actually can't hire fast enough. It's like, man, we're trying to find talent, and there's more clients coming in than we can hire talent. So
I love that problem, right?
yeah.
Awesome. So when we first met, right? I mean, you've been featured on popular podcasts,
Yeah.
right? The Brad Lee,
The Brad Lee podcast on dropping
as well.
bombs. Yeah.
Dropping bombs on there. So we're gonna drop some bombs for you guys today as well.
Yeah.
And also for me, right? That was an experience.
Yeah.
To be on your podcast. It was wasn't ready, right? Very nervous. I think I told Carlos that time, I'm like, dude, that was pretty cool. Like we should, eventually do that one day, right? So here we are, man. So actually you inspired this podcast.
Awesome, man. Yeah, actually, it's funny. Like everyone that I've had as a guest has actually, like most of them have started their own podcast now, and
There
like
you go.
they kind of started a movement, So it's nice to see that going around, man.
Yeah. So here we are. Our podcast. We really we're interviewing our agents, exposing them to to the world, to the internet world. What we find out is if you Google any agent right now, especially a newer agent, Google their name. There's probably no history of them out there,
Right.
and most of them might be a review or even a bad review.
Mm-hmm.
So my goal behind the podcast was, look, let's build it for the agents.
Mm-hmm.
Let's create content for them.
Yeah.
So when in 2023 you Google them, it's actually a video versus reviews.
Right.
So you can do reviews, you can do videos, but that's how I started.
Yeah.
Let's create it, and then we'll bring on guests like Joel and Ishmael. This morning I was like, hey dude, you got room?
Yeah.
Let's get Joel in here.
Yeah.
But yeah, you were on my definitely on my list, my guest list. We have a guest list every week. We're inviting new guests.
Nice.
We had Andre Gonzalez,
Okay.
city councilman, vice mayor for Bakersfield here
Nice.
about 2 weeks ago.
That's awesome.
So that was great. He wasn't prepared for the podcast.
Oh, really?
But hey, that's the best time, man. When you're not ready, all
just
the
keep
good
it
stuff.
raw, man.
All the
Keep
stuff
it
comes
natural.
coming. So Joel, so tell us a little bit about. I know you can unload a lot, but tell us a little bit about Joel. Who is Joel?
Yeah.
Tell us about your business. How'd you get started?
Yeah. So I'm actually from a small little Hispanic town, Watsonville, California, which is basically Santa Cruz County, Central Coast. And I graduated from Watsonville High, moved to Bakersfield actually, not really knowing what to do. I didn't know what accounting was. I didn't really know what was in store for me in the future. But I met a CPA actually around 2007, 2008 when there was a big real estate crash. And so I was actually in real estate, believe it or not. My mom's an escrow officer, or was. She recently retired for a big title company. My dad's a property manager. And so that was kind of in my path, was to follow real estate. But terrible timing because everybody was losing their homes.
Damn.
And so I was looking basically for a stable and secure job, and found out that accounting was, everyone had, nothing in life is guaranteed but death or taxes, right?
Right.
So I was like, taxes is going to give me that stability. So I went to school. I came to move basically from Watsonville to Bakersfield to go to CSU Bakersfield, and ended up meeting my wife here. And so I ended up staying in Bakersfield.
Always happens.
Yeah.
Always happens.
I actually had plans to move back to the Central Coast or somewhere like the beach weather because I was used to it.
Yeah.
And you actually take it for granted because once you move to the valley, you're like,
Damn.
man, where's that fresh air?
That fresh breeze at least.
Yeah.
Right?
But love kind of is stronger, so I ended up staying here and got to work. I got basically multiple offers from CPA firms. I did pretty well in school, so I kind of just worked for the man, and then I started kind of learning about entrepreneurship, and no one in my family really had a business, so I didn't really have anyone to go to. But it was like one of the things I started reading books, entrepreneurial books, personal development. And one thing that really stuck in my mind is like, hey, instead of like climbing the corporate ladder, wouldn't you want to own the corporate ladder? And to me, that never crossed my mind. Like my parents, both actually, even though they were in real estate, they were not entrepreneurs. They were not 1099. They were W-2. And so they were doing pretty well for themselves, but they were climbing the corporate ladder. And so what I realized is that there's a ceiling as to how much money you can make.
Right.
And entrepreneurship gives you basically the sky's the limit.
Unlimited potential.
Exactly. So I decided to basically start my own firm. I started from scratch as a solo tax practitioner. And actually, to make things even more interesting, Eric, I'm not sure if you remember the story, but when I quit my job, I somehow got my wife pregnant.
Oh, man.
and so she said,
right.
"Hey, you have 9 months to make this business work," because she was working as a fourth grade teacher, and she was basically paying the bills because I basically went from a 6-figure salary to nothing. And so I had 9 months to make it work. Was out of my comfort zone because I had no clients. So I was like, how do I get customers? I literally did everything that you could think of, cold called, just try to find people to partner with. And then, long story short, now we have 16 full-time employees. We basically serve all 50 states, specialize in helping business owners save between $25,000 to $50,000 a year in taxes, and we're making more than 7 figures a year. Couldn't be happier.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Living a dream life now.
So it started all because the fire was on you, right?
Yeah,
you had to perform. So tell us a little bit about that business. What's the startup? Is it obviously just a lot of effort, right? A lot of desire.
Yeah.
Cost wise, I mean, what does it start cost to?
Yeah, I mean, thankfully, with accounting, there's not a whole lot of like the biggest risk was really my loss of income, because it's not like you have to purchase a lot of like if you build a restaurant, right, you're gonna have to spend so much money,
Ovens, hoods,
yeah,
all that
just
stuff,
to
right?
get the restaurant started. I think they said McDonald's it takes like you have to have $1 million.
Startup.
Whether it's loans that you get, but you need $1 million just to start McDonald's.
Wow.
With an accounting firm, really all you need is just the knowledge on how to do taxes, which I already had it because I went to school.
Perfect.
But what I didn't know is how to run a business, because again, I didn't have any family members. I didn't know how to get leads. I didn't know what leads were, even what the even definition of leads were. It's like this whole new world of marketing and sales. Like this is not what I went to school for, right? I went to school to basically be a CPA.
I see.
And that's what I had to learn, through actually investing in coaching, through experience. And that's kind of what allowed me to basically, once I learned those skills, that's what allowed me kind of like the actual technical skills of taxes with the actual marketing and sales skills. You combine those together, plus, obviously hard work and, that work ethic. When you combine all three, it creates that kind of like power, to build an empire.
Absolutely. So amazing story. So now it looks like you're doing very well, which you are. You've been featured on many podcasts, spoke on big stages. What is life of Joel now? What's the day-to-day activities?
Yeah. I think what is interesting is that they said money really just makes you more of who you really are as a person, or who you were as a person, right? There's money. People have money who are jerks. There's people that have money that are super humble. It just makes you more of who you really are. And so the life today of Joel is really just spending time with my family. I got a wife, 2 daughters at home. This past weekend, we just went to Disneyland, basically spoiled my daughters.
Nice.
They did the bippity boppity. They dressed up the girls into little princesses,
Oh, wow.
do their hair and nails. Those are all kind of VIP experiences that money allows you to buy. Also did like, a VIP experience of breakfast with all the Disney princesses. So they got their autographs, got to interact. I mean, that was not cheap, But, that's what money allows you to do, is kind of
absolutely
you spend money on the things that you enjoy. And that's kind of what I've been doing now.
Yeah, yes. It's funny you bring that up. This morning I was listening to a podcast and, the question came up of when is enough enough?
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, it boils down to, the passion, right? Everyone's got a passion for what they're, we're all chasing something.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, it comes down to what you just said, right? Time, family, relationships with people,
right?
And really the freedom to do kind of what you want,
Yeah, 100%.
And so that's great, man. So tell us a little bit about the hobbies, right? The recreation, Joel, right? You just went from a Tesla to back to gasoline powered vehicle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, actually, I have a Porsche 911
He's a
now.
car guy, right? Car
I'm
guy,
a car guy, car
enthusiast.
enthusiast. I mean,
That's
I
right.
have a Corvette, a couple Cayennes. You know, I was telling Eric before the show is like I team Porsche right now, just because the amount of power. But I think that again, those luxuries are kind of it just kind of gives you that sense of achievement of what you've been able to accomplish with your business. At the end of the day, obviously those things we can't take them with them, right, when we pass away, but we can enjoy them right now. And it kind of gives you that, that status that you've made it. It kind of reminds you of, your hard work. And I think that actually just gives you more motivation to even work harder the next day. And when you talk about, when is enough, actually, I think that's an important concept for most people to understand because if you were to ask me when is enough, I think as long as you don't lose your foundation of what's important to you, whether it's your family, whether it's the important things in life,
Right.
to me the sky's the limit as long as you
Yeah.
don't lose that foundation.
Yeah, you're right. I think going back to that, it's I think that fuels you even more.
Yeah.
It makes everything just nicer when you have support at home,
Oh yeah,
and that you're taking care of the people you love and take care of.
for sure.
So totally can relate to that. So tell us about the 911, right? Turbo,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, man. I mean,
What color is it? It was
I
black,
have a
right?
white. I have a white one.
Oh,
It's,
nice.
it's white.
My favorite color, man. I think we should
Oh, there we
swap
go.
out for the weekend.
There we go. Awesome, man. So yeah, I mean the 911. Again, I was driving the Tesla before, and I think at the time, when you're just starting out in business, it kind of made sense because I was trying to save as much money as possible, right? And so I have solar panels in my house, basically pays for all my electricity. And so I basically was driving around town for free because I didn't have an electricity bill. The Tesla basically I just charge it at home, wake up in the morning, it's fully charged.
Ready to go.
And I had it for 4 years, and it was a lot. I mean, I enjoyed it because I enjoy technology, on social media.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of like that part of it. But once you drive like a combustion engine and you feel the engine and you become a part of the vehicle, man, you never go back to an electric car. I'm just saying. It's like, man, you feel like you're part of the 911.
You
like,
see, you proved my point, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
So everyone's talks about, hey, when's the electric car come in as nice as they are.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, there's just something else about driving a car that makes noise and
Oh, for sure.
You put the pedal, accelerates quickly, especially Porsche. I was just telling Joel
yeah.
before the event, attended a Porsche event over the weekend with my son, and we had goals in line, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't a Porsche. And I was like, Dad, dude, you got to get a Porsche now. That's our next car, a white one. He picked it out already. I'm like, all right.
Oh, nice.
So, for us, I think that's motivation to inspire and keep going, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. If you drive a 911, I think, in my opinion, you'll probably never go back because,
man, yeah, that's
like I went from a Corvette to 911. Now the Corvette kind of seems like kind of baby.
4-cylinder, right?
Yeah.
Awesome, man. So now, actually, I was gonna ask you to tell us something about you, right?
Yeah.
But there we go. So tell us a little bit more about share a childhood memory. That you maybe just sticks out.
Yeah, I mean, I think I had a really good childhood. My parents are great role models. I think and that's what kind of inspires me to be the same parent, a similar parent as to how my parents were. As a child, I grew up playing baseball. So I played both shortstop, pitcher, and I really like baseball because it makes you use your brain, but then you also have to be athletic.
Right.
For example, if you're playing shortstop and you get the ball, you have to know, okay, where's the runner going? And that way you know where to throw the ball, right? Because otherwise you got to stop the runner and then get the guy out at first. So it's very, analytical, which kind of goes in line to me being an accountant, right? Using your head. Right. But then also that competition of wanting to win, that kind of led me to also that entrepreneurial stuff of like competition, other accountants, other CPAs. How do I stand apart? And it's funny, as a kid, you don't realize that, right? You're just having fun, you're playing the game, but it's teaching you all these other skills. Like it's teaching you how to win, how to strategize, how to also not be a sore loser, and how to be able to deal with you struck out and you could have won the game if you would have hit the ball, and all these emotion things. And it's Man, it was such a fun time for me, and now all those skills that I learned as a kid, I'm applying today, but now in the business space,
Absolutely.
And one of the things I learned from actually a coach of mine is like, hey, I have a salesperson who works on my team, and he was like, hey, if you're gonna um, hire a salesperson, you want one that has like kind of a background in sports because
Right.
they have that competitive,
Yeah.
that thrill, that advantage of I want to win.
Yeah, believe it or not, part of the questions here interviewing is, have you played sports growing up?
Yeah,
That'll tell you, hey, look, this guy's has drive or no or none, right?
yeah.
Or it's gonna be a learning lesson for sure. So that's great stuff, Joel. So you're doing well. You're still building. I'm sure you're so hungry, motivated, inspired.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the master plan. What are part of the plans here 10, 15 years down the road?
Yeah, I mean, I think 10, if you ask like what my long-term vision is, I kind of realized that, I wouldn't have actually the company that I have today if it wasn't for my team, especially like my leadership team, like my managers. I mean, they're the ones who really like manage the relationships. They're the ones who are actually like my salesperson is the one that's kind of growing the firm now. I was kind of like, in the beginning, I did it all, right? I was
Right.
a manager, I was a janitor, I was
Everything. Yeah.
everything. And so, and I've been able to delegate basically all my responsibilities little by
Within the
little
company.
within the company now.
Yes.
And so now I have like departments, because of the size of the company. I have a tax department, I have an accounting department, a marketing department, a sales department, right? All the different, departments of a company.
Mm-hmm.
And so, especially the basically manager of each department, they're so vital to the success of my company that my goal for them is to eventually give them a portion of equity. And so I've told them like, hey, the long-term vision of our firm is to basically grow this firm as big as possible without obviously affecting our quality of life. One I actually heard that, for example, Starbucks is opening a new location every 4 hours.
Jeez.
And just to imagine the amount of the brain power, the team power that they need in order to do that. I was like, for us to, maybe one day we can acquire CPA firms at every 4 hours. We
Right.
never know. We just got to think big.
Absolutely.
And so our goal is to basically be basically the CPA firm of choice for every small business owner in America.
Like that.
And eventually, once we're ready to retire, which right now we're very young, so we don't have plans to do that anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
My management team is still very young as well.
That's good.
We all want to grow together, and then eventually we'll probably just exit, sell our firm to one of the biggest, hopefully for close to, hopefully $1 billion.
There we go. Okay.
I already know it's worth more than $1 million. So how many millions can we add to
The next
to
couple of years.
valuation? Yeah,
Exactly.
and then just have all my equity owners, receive a big windfall as well.
Absolutely. That's huge, man. So that being, the goal, the vision, right? There's always threats to our businesses, right? There's ChatGPT, there's QuickBooks. We've all attempted to do our taxes at some point, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so tell us how you align to that, right? How does Joe Sandoval compete with ChatGPT and the technology that comes to play?
Yeah. I mean, well, I think artificial intelligence, in my opinion, is not competition, but it's more of a tool to help us all succeed, right? Like, for example, anytime we want to know anything, like right now we Google everything, right? We can Google any answer. We don't have that. Now we have information at our hands like we've never done before.
Absolutely.
Now ChatGPT is the new thing that's growing, artificial intelligence. And, for example, TurboTax, if you have really simple taxes, I think you can just take pictures of your W-2s and then your tax returns are done. Like, there's no need to go to a professional, right?
I see.
So when do you visit a CPA like myself? When you're succeeding in business, in life, when you're succeeding. Because, I mean, I don't think AI is going to be able to, have that relationship with you, right? You can't build a relationship. At least maybe in the future, you never know. But right now, just that human touch, right? That human feeling, that means a lot to people. And I think that's what we bring to the table is we create a relationship with our clients that, hey, we're going to ultimately help you save money on taxes in very strategic ways, whether it's buying real estate, commercial buildings, whether it's, investing in life insurance into retirement, whether it's buying new vehicles, buying Porsches. There's so many different ways to save money on taxes. And although you can ask probably ChatGPT to give you those answers or AI or Google, I mean, at the end of the day, that's not your professionalism, right? Everybody has you're a professional in what you do, and we're a professional in the tax law. And so eventually, you just have to focus on producing income, making as much money as possible, and then kind of outsource this tax laws, to your CPA. And if you have a strong relationship with one, I mean, hold on to that relationship, because your CPA really is your business partner, because they're helping you keep as much money as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. You go back to you saying, "Hey, we're a one-man show, right?" We all start that way at some point, and yeah, you also have a deadline of when you start hiring for certain departments, right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us, including myself, right, we end up, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna save money.
Mm-hmm.
You try to go a certain route, it doesn't work out. It ends up biting you in the rear end.
Right.
At the end of the day, right? What advice can you give to those people that are like, "Oh, I got to figure it out,"
Yeah.
They're saving taxes already. What kind of advice can you give us?
Well, I think, a mentor of mine said, depending on where we're at in business, we either have more time or we have more money, right? As you start to grow in business, you start to have less time, right? But you have more money. So then you basically, if you're just starting out, you probably have more time, right? So you can't probably do your own taxes. But if you got a pipeline of leads, if you got now you start to grow in your career, in your business, it's like, I don't have time to worry about taxes, right? I have more money than I have time. So that's when it's time to delegate, start to look out for a professional, right?
Absolutely.
It's like, there's a lot of things that I don't do because I don't, I could basically wash my own cars, but why don't I? Because I don't have the time.
Right.
And I'm probably not going to do as good of a job. I'm probably going to leave some smear marks on my car. And it's like,
overspray of Armor on
that. Yeah, I don't mow my own lawn. I don't do my own laundry. I don't do any of those things. Not because I don't know how to, right? But because my time is better spent with my quality of life, spending time with my kids, or just making more money.
So you cater to a particular niche, right?
Yeah.
And so for those that are watching, what's kind of like that niche you focus on? I know you're working with large companies, corporations, medium-sized business as well.
Yeah.
What's kind of that start? What do you see out there that maybe someone should say, like, yes, I think I'm smaller, but I'm probably ready for that?
I would say, if you're on the smaller side, once you have to send a check to the IRS for at least $10,000, then you probably should reach out to us, because we can probably make that $10,000 bill go away. Because we save on average, very minimum $10,000 in taxes. So if you're not paying that much in taxes, then obviously it doesn't make sense to work with us, because you don't even owe that much yet, right? And so our clients typically are paying the IRS, 50 grand, 70 grand, right? And so it hurts to send that money to Uncle Sam, right? And so what can we do, Joel? What can we do to pay less, right? Because we don't want to get in trouble. We don't want to do things illegally, but we do want to cut.
Take the benefits of it, yeah.
And so what are the things that we can do? And that's what we do, right? We come up with a strategic tax plan to reduce your taxes.
And that plan, I imagine, is a little bit of budgeting, right?
Oh, yeah.
A little bit of diverting money different ways.
For sure.
Probably going to be a little bit uncomfortable, like anything, right? You want to lose weight.
Right.
It's going to be a little uncomfortable at first to adjust to this lifestyle to get the problem away, right? Otherwise, keep sending checks, right?
Yeah. I mean, it all starts with, I think, the desire, right? How big of a desire do you have? Because, for example, talking about health, right? I recently lost like maybe 17 pounds. I'm down to 15% body fat.
Oh, wow. Nice.
So in the very beginning, it was very difficult, right? Because I love tacos. I love tortas, And so I had to change my diet. Right now it's dry chicken, brown rice. I don't get me wrong, I'll still have my cheat days. If I go to a family party, I'm gonna have that taco and that torta, but during the week I'm pretty strict. And I think it goes back to the desire. How badly do you want to be fit? Or if you're in business, how badly do you want to make 6 figures, 7 figures, right? Because if you really, really want it, because things are it's not gonna be easy, right? So it's like, when I was first eating that, that dry chicken, man, it was, I'd rather have a torta, but it's like, hey, I really want to I want to be able to look good. I want to feel good. I want to be able to have energy to play with my kids. I want to look in the mirror, and, that desire was strong. And I think that goes to anything you want in life is you gotta have that desire has to be stronger than whatever obstacles you're gonna have.
Obstacles, yeah, exactly. The discipline, right?
For
The
sure.
regret versus discipline.
Yep.
Awesome, man. So, final words here. What advice can you give us? Something maybe a mentor has given you that our followers here can take with them today. One last bomb you got for us, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think if you're going after any goal in life, you have to ask yourself, how badly do you really want it, right? And that may take constant reminders, right? Because there's going to be times where things get hard. So you have to stay focused. Find somebody in your life that's going to hold you accountable, right? Because it's very easy to get distracted. So having, someone like Eric, if you're in real estate, to basically make sure that you hit your goals, your targets, that's really what makes the difference. Because, if you're not going to get fit without a fitness trainer, right? You're not going to make money without a coach. I mean, the best basketball players have coaches, right? So I think if you're going to want anything in life, find an accountability partner and then just hold yourself accountable and stay focused, stay driven. I think that's where you basically, if you find that, you'll achieve anything you want in life.
There you go, guys. Or you buy a white 911 Porsche, right? That'll keep you accountable.
Exactly. Yeah.
Constant reminder in the garage, like, hey, you gotta go get it.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right, guys. So thanks for checking us out here at episode number 6 with CPA, actually more of a master planner, asset manager, financial planning, Joel Sandoval here. Make sure to check him out on Instagram.
Yeah, you can find me at Joel Sandoval CPA. So if you just search for my name, I'll be the first one to show up. Feel free to send me a DM. I'll be more than glad to connect with you. Follow me for some content, and hopefully we can, be friends one day.
There you go, guys. Also, make sure to follow us on YouTube, TheMoraPartners. Check out our playlist. Also, our past episodes here with our agents. Make sure to give them a call regarding all your real estate needs. And for all your tax purposes, check out Joel Sandoval. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. See you guys soon.